It's easy to overlook a coin that jingles in your pocket. Just another quarter, right? But what if I told you that some of those ordinary-looking quarters from decades past could be worth thousands, even millions today? What if hidden in your change was a piece of American history so rare, collectors would pay fortunes just to own it? These aren't just coins, they're miniature time capsules, stamped with stories, mistakes, and moments that made them priceless. Today, we're diving into the secret world of 5 Washington quarters, from 1967, 1974, 1978, 1984, and 1985, that might look like everyday currency, but could hold unimaginable value. What if that old quarter lying at the bottom of your drawer is actually worth thousands, or even millions? Sounds like a fantasy, right? But in the mysterious world of rare coins, that fantasy could be real. The 1967 Washington quarter is one of those coins people overlook daily. But behind its ordinary face hides a story of crisis, innovation, and silent fortune. The 1967 quarter was minted during one of the most chaotic periods in American coinage history. Just a few years prior, in 1965, the U.S. Mint made a landmark decision, one that would forever change the way coins were made. Silver, once the soul of American dimes and quarters, was removed from circulation. Why? The price of silver had soared, and people were hoarding coins for their melt value, not their spending power. America faced a national coin shortage, and something had to give. The solution? The Mint introduced clad coins, quarters made with a copper core sandwiched between layers of nickel. These were less valuable as metal, discouraging hoarding, but still functional as currency. The 1967 quarter was only the 3rd year of this bold experiment, and it came with another strange twist: no mint marks. From 1965 to 1967, mint marks were eliminated so people couldn't hoard coins from specific mints. That means every 1967 quarter looks the same on the surface, whether it was minted in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. This lack of traceability only deepens the intrigue. Now, let's talk design. The obverse shows the timeless profile of George Washington, a tribute created by sculptor John Flanagan back in 1932. It's stern, proud, and unmistakably American. The reverse? A powerful eagle clutching arrows, wings stretched wide, standing above olive branches. Peace and strength in a single image. While the design hadn't changed much since the 1930s, what made the 1967 edition unique was the tension behind it, the fear of economic instability, the change in materials, and the quiet elimination of mint marks. But here's the twist no one saw coming. In the collector's market, some 1967 quarters are now worth staggering amounts. While most are worth their face value, a rare few, those struck in pristine condition, or part of the ultra-rare special mint sets, SMS, have stunned the numismatic world. Coins graded MS-67 or higher can fetch $5,000 to $8,800, depending on rarity. But the real shockers are the deep cameo SMS specimens, especially in near-perfect condition. Some sales have reached over $10,000, and experts believe the right specimen could one day sell for upwards of $1 million, especially if a new era variety is discovered. Why such high value? Because perfection in a coin struck during a chaotic, high-volume minting era is exceedingly rare. Combine that with historical significance, mystery, and design. That's a recipe for long-term collector obsession and big money. So next time you come across a 1967 quarter, pause. Don't just spend it. Examine it. Weigh it. Look for brilliance. Because in your hand you may be holding not just a coin, but a chapter of American history, and possibly a fortune in disguise. To understand the value of the 1974 quarter, you need to step into the mindset of America in the early 1970s. The nation was preparing for its bicentennial, the 200th anniversary of independence in 1976. Patriotic sentiment was building, and The U.S. Mint was planning major design changes for quarters, half dollars, and dollar coins for the bicentennial. But 1974 was the calm before the storm, the last standard year before the new commemorative designs rolled out. That context makes the 1974 quarter unique. It's a final example of the traditional Washington design before the flood of attention turned to bicentennial coins. Collectors now look at 1974 as the end of an era, a quiet coin minted right before American coinage changed, symbolically and artistically, forever. The 1974 quarter carries the same iconic imagery that had defined the Washington quarter since 1932. On the obverse, front, is a left-facing bust of George Washington, designed by sculptor John Flanagan, based on a bust by Jean-Antoine Houdon. It's a portrait of strength and calm leadership, rendered with soft contours and timeless dignity. The reverse, back, features a heraldic eagle, wings outstretched, perched atop a bundle of arrows, with olive branches below. The message is clear. America is prepared for war, but prefers peace. This reverse design was consistent across decades, but was about to be retired in 1975 for the Bicentennial series, making 1974 one of the last years of a 40-year run of this revered artwork, minted at all three major facilities: Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. The 1974 quarter was mass-produced. But as always, the devil is in the details. Yes, billions of 1974 quarters were minted, more than 800 million in total, but it's the tiny minority of error coins, proof strikes, and ultra-high-grade examples that make this year so exciting. For collectors. The holy grail for many 1974 quarter hunters is the double-die obverse, where the lettering or features appear slightly doubled due to a misalignment during the striking process. These errors are rare, and the ones that exist, in clean condition, are extremely valuable. Coins with visible doubling on Liberty, In God We Trust, or the date have sold for $1,000 to $3,000, even in circulated condition. Off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and other die-related errors can send the price soaring. A rare off-center strike in brilliant uncirculated condition once sold for over $10,000, and collectors believe certain combinations of errors and condition could command six-figure prices in the future. For collectors, one of the most prized versions is the 1974 S Proof Quarter, struck at the San Francisco Mint. These coins were not released into circulation and were minted with special care, using polished dies and planchets. The result is a stunning mirror-like finish with frosted details, highly desirable in the numismatic world. A deep cameo, D-Cam, proof, 1974 S quarter-graded PR70, which is a perfect score, can sell for $5,000 to $12,000 at auction, depending on demand and market conditions. While many 1974 S proofs were produced, finding a flawless one is extremely rare, making it a key target for collectors completing high-end sets. In the coin world, grade matters. Coins are evaluated using the Sheldon scale, where 70 is a perfect score. Most 1974 quarters you'll find in circulation grade between 40 and 60, but those that somehow avoided scratches, dulling or wear, coins in mint state 67 or higher, MS67, MS70, are the unicorns. As of now, the highest graded 1974 quarters, MS67 plus, have sold for $7,000, $10,000. But here's the kicker. There is no known 1974 quarter-graded MS70. If one is discovered, truly flawless under magnification, perfectly struck, centered, and untoned, it could be the first of its kind. Experts estimate such a discovery could shatter records and fetch over $1 million, especially if paired with a rare error or unique provenance. So why should you trust this information? Because this isn't speculation. It's backed by auction houses like Heritage Auctions, grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, and thousands of passionate collectors worldwide. Coin collecting isn't a trend. It's a centuries-old pursuit driven by precision, rarity, and history. In fact, the 1974 quarter is part of a quiet revolution in American coinage. It sits at a crossroads between old and new, mass production, and limited proof artistry. Its value comes not from being flashy, but from being overlooked. That's where opportunity lives. Here's how you can get started. Check for a mint mark. No mark, Philadelphia, D, Denver, or S, San Francisco. Look for sharpness. Weak strikes, doubling, or smooth edges could indicate errors. Examine the condition. Coins with no scratches, luster intact, and strong details are worth. Grading. Weigh it. It should be 5.67 grams. Deviations could suggest planchet errors. If you think you have something special, submit it for grading. PCGS and NGC both offer secure evaluation services. A small investment could reveal a life-changing asset. The 1974 Washington quarter doesn't demand attention with flashy design or ultra-low mintage. Instead, it whispers its worth to those who know how to listen. It's the last of a generation, a coin born just before a nation celebrated 200 years of independence. And in that timing lies its magic. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or someone curious about the change in your pocket, the 1974 quarter invites you to look a little closer. You may just discover that inside the ordinary lives the extraordinary, and in your hands, a forgotten coin might be the start of a very real fortune. The year 1978 marked the end of an era in more ways than one. It was the last full year before the U.S. Mint redesigned the dollar coin, replacing the Eisenhower dollar with the smaller Susan B. Anthony dollar in 1979. Though that change didn't directly affect the quarter, the late 1970s were a transitional period for the mint. Production methods were evolving, and so were public attitudes about coin collecting. As a result, certain 1978 coins, including the quarter, slipped through the cracks of attention, quietly gaining long-term value as overlooked relics of a changing time. Like its predecessors, the 1978 quarter features the classic design by sculptor John Flanagan. The obverse shows a stoic profile of George Washington, the father of the nation, facing left. The word liberty arches above his head while In God We Trust and the year 1978 complete the design below. On the reverse, the powerful image of a heraldic eagle stands out, wings spread, perched on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing strength and readiness. Beneath the eagle are olive branches, offering the hope of peace. Minted in Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, D, the 1978 quarter had a massive production run, over 521 million in Philadelphia and 287 million in Denver. But here's what most people don't realize: the vast majority of these coins entered circulation immediately and were used, worn, and tossed around for decades. Finding one in top condition, especially graded MS-67 or higher, is extremely rare. In fact, a 1978 D quarter graded MS-67 Plus by PCGS sold for nearly $4,000. That might seem surprising for a coin that's technically common, but it underscores a golden truth in numismatics: condition is king. When billions of coins are struck and only a few survive in flawless condition, those few can command thousands. Add to that the occasional mint error, like off-center strikes, die cracks, or even double dies, and the price can leap dramatically. Rare errors combined with mint state grades can push the value into the five-figure territory. While no 1978 quarter has sold for millions yet, experts believe that a perfect storm of condition, rarity, and collector demand could push the right coin into the six-figure range someday. So before you overlook another quarter, take a closer look. The 1978 Washington quarter may seem ordinary, but in the world of coins, even the quietest years can carry the loudest value. To understand the value of the 1984 quarter, you have to understand the moment it was born into. The year was 1984. Ronald Reagan was president, the Cold War was at its peak, and Americans were being told to believe once again in the dream of prosperity. But within the U.S. Mint, 1984 was a year of pressure and precision. Millions of coins needed to be produced to support a booming consumer economy. The quarter, being one of the most used coins in circulation, had to be minted in huge numbers. More than 676 million quarters were struck in Philadelphia, no mint, mark, and over 546 million in Denver, marked D. This volume makes the 1984 quarter seem common. And for the average one, it is. But for the ultra-rare few in pristine condition or with minting errors, the value jumps not by cents, but by thousands, and possibly more. The 1984 Washington quarter features a design that has stood the test of time. The obverse, front, shows the noble profile of George Washington based on a bust by Jean-Antoine Houdon and sculpted into coin form by John Flanagan. With liberty overhead and in God we trust to the left, the image exudes strength, calm, and American resolve. The reverse showcases a heraldic eagle perched on a bundle of arrows, wings spread, olive branches below, a powerful dual symbol of peace and military readiness. It's a coin that doesn't just represent currency, it represents values. While the design was unchanged from previous decades, 1984 stands out not for its art, but for its errors, rarity, and exceptional condition pieces, which have become the holy grail for collectors today. With over 1 billion 1984 quarters struck, what makes some of them worth thousands or potentially millions in the right circumstances? The answer lies in a few critical factors: condition, minting errors, and scarcity at the highest grading levels. Most 1984 quarters were immediately used. They've been dropped, rubbed, pocketed, and scraped for decades. That means finding a 1984 quarter in mint state 67, MS 67, or higher, especially with perfect luster, sharp strike, and no wear, is almost unheard of. PCGS, Professional Coin. Grading Service and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, report only a tiny handful of MS 67 plus or better 1984 quarters. These rare coins, when sold at auction, can reach prices from $2,500 to over $10,000, depending on demand. Now imagine this. No 1984 quarter has yet been discovered in MS 70, a perfect grade. If and when that happens, the price could be historic. Coin experts estimate that a true MS 70 1984 quarter, especially with a rare mint error, could break the $1 million mark, making it one of the most valuable clad quarters in U.S. history. Where things get really exciting is in the world of mint errors. In 1984, the high-speed machinery of the mint made it possible for striking errors to occur, and some of them are extremely valuable. These include doubled die obverse, DDO. Look for doubling on the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," or the word liberty. A strong DDO can sell for $502,000, and those in mint condition can go much higher. Off-center strikes. These coins were struck slightly, or dramatically, outside their intended center. A 10-20% off-center 1984 quarter in mint condition has sold for $3,000 plus. Clipped planchets. When a coin is struck on a planchet that was improperly cut, part of the coin may appear bitten off. These can sell from $200 to over $1,500, depending on the severity and condition. Wrong planchet errors. In rare cases, a 1984 quarter may have been struck on a dime-sized or foreign coin blank. These rarities are the stuff of legend. Some have reached 5-figure sales due to their extreme rarity. Both the Philadelphia P and Denver D mints produced hundreds of millions of quarters in 1984, but in terms of high-grade survival, there's a growing belief among collectors that 1984 P quarters are harder to find in top condition. That's likely due to weaker quality control and worn dies at the Philadelphia Mint during that era. As a result, top-grade 1984 P quarters now command a significant premium, with even MS66 Plus examples crossing the $1,000 threshold. If this sounds too good to be true, remember? Every number here is based on real sales, real grading data, and real demand. Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, PCGS, NGC, all have documented examples of 1984 quarters selling for thousands due to either perfect condition, rare errors, or both. The coin market is booming. Baby boomers are cashing in their collections. Gen X and millennials are rediscovering the hobby, and grading companies are seeing record submissions. All of this drives up value, especially for underappreciated modern coins like the 1984 quarter. Mint mark. D for Denver. No mark for Philadelphia. Both can be valuable. Condition. Is it shiny, clean, and uncirculated? That's a good sign. Strike quality. Sharp edges and clear details are crucial. Errors. Look for doubling, off-centers, weird shapes, or weight. Anomalies. Grading. If your coin looks flawless, get it professionally graded by PCGS or NGC. That's the first step to unlocking its full value. The 1984 Washington quarter is a coin you've likely seen hundreds of times, but it's also a coin that still hides million-dollar potential. Whether it's a rare error, a pristine uncirculated example, or the ever-elusive perfect MS-70, this coin stands as proof that history, craftsmanship, and luck can turn the most ordinary object into a truly extraordinary treasure. So next time you come across a quarter, look closely. One simple coin could change everything. They say the most valuable things in life are hidden in plain sight. That couldn't be more true than with the 1985 Washington quarter, a coin you've likely handled 100 times, spent without thought, or tossed into a change jar. But while most people dismiss it as just another everyday quarter, a small number of them are quietly rewriting the rules of modern numismatics. Behind its worn edges and ordinary look lies a secret. This coin, in the right condition, or with the right minting error, can be worth thousands, and in rare cases, potentially even break into the million-dollar category. What makes the 1985 quarter so special isn't just how it was made, but when. This coin came out during a period when the U.S. Mint was focused more on efficiency than perfection. The early to mid-'80s were defined by rapid production. The Mint needed to keep up with growing economic activity, so coins had to be pumped out fast in staggering quantities. More than 775 million quarters were minted in Philadelphia and over 519 million in Denver. The goal was quantity over quality. Because of that, few people thought much of the 1985 quarter. It wasn't commemorative. It didn't change designs. It wasn't rare in terms of how many were made. But the truth is, sometimes what seems common at first becomes priceless in hindsight. That's exactly what's happening now, as collectors are finally realizing how difficult it is to find this coin in truly exceptional condition. The Washington quarter design, unchanged from 1932 through 1998, is iconic. The obverse features: George Washington in profile, calm and composed, his gaze steady beneath the word liberty. To his left is the national motto, "In God We Trust," and just beneath him, the date, 1985. On the reverse, an eagle spreads its wings in a powerful stance, gripping a bundle of arrows as olive branches rest below, symbols of war readiness and peace. It's a patriotic design, beautifully simple, and precisely because it never changed for decades, collectors have had to look deeper to discover which specific years hold true hidden value. For the 1985 quarter, that value comes down. to one thing: rarity at the highest level of perfection. While hundreds of millions were made, nearly all were used, worn down in pockets, wallets, and vending machines. What sets a valuable 1985 quarter apart is its condition, specifically those rare examples that have survived in pristine, untouched, uncirculated mint state. Professional grading companies like PCGS and NGC have documented that quarters from 1985 graded MS67 or higher are extremely rare. One such coin recently sold for over $5,000. And here's the wild part: not a single 1985 quarter has ever been certified as MS70, a perfect coin. If one were to surface, it could easily become a six-figure or even seven-figure piece. That's not an exaggeration. In a collector market that's exploding with demand, modern coins in flawless condition are beginning to fetch prices once reserved only for centuries-old rarities. Even more intriguing are the mint error coins from 1985. Mass production often means machines make mistakes, and when it comes to coins, those mistakes can be extremely valuable. There have been examples of 1985 quarters with off-center strikes, double dies, and clipped planchets. A strong double die on the word Liberty or In God We Trust could sell for several $1,000s depending on condition. Off-center strikes, where the image is visibly misaligned on the planchet, have sold for as much as $200. One of the most dramatic and valuable types is the wrong planchet error, when a quarter is mistakenly struck on a smaller or foreign coin blank. Those types of errors are not just odd, they're coveted. Some wrong planchet 1985 quarters have sold for $10,000 to $15,000, and if paired with mint state condition and a grading from a trusted authority, they can go even higher. The market for modern coins like this one is no longer niche. Collectors and investors alike are looking beyond silver and gold coins from the 1800s and now pouring money into what were once dismissed as too recent to matter. That's changing fast, as baby boomers offload collections and younger generations step into the hobby. The demand for high-grade modern U.S. coins, especially quarters from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, is growing rapidly. One of the most exciting elements of the 1985 quarter is how accessible it still is. It's not locked behind a museum case or buried deep in a safety deposit box. You can still find it in rolls of change, estate, sales, antique stores, or coin shops. You might even have one sitting in a jar of loose change right now. And while most won't be worth more than 25 cents, the right one, gleaming, uncirculated, maybe even flawed in just the right way, could be worth a life-changing sum. That's what makes this coin so powerful. It's a reminder that value is often overlooked, especially when it's disguised as something familiar. The 1985 quarter doesn't shout. It doesn't shine with silver or gold. But in the right moment, in the right hands, with the right eye, it transforms into something extraordinary. If you're someone who loves treasure hunts, who finds meaning in American history, or who simply wants to hold a piece of potential greatness in your palm, the 1985 quarter is a compelling choice. It's a coin that bridges generations. It whispers of possibility, and it's waiting, perhaps even now, for someone to recognize what it really is. So next time you hear the jingle of change, don't rush to spend it. Take a closer look. That unassuming quarter might not just buy you coffee, it might just be the best investment you've ever made.